Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurlisa Afia binti Abdul Halil and my partner is Abdul Halim bin Harudin. Today, we will present about research methodology with the title of Moderating Effect of Gender in the Relationship Between Entrepreneurship Education and Entrepreneurship Intention Among Undergraduates at University Malaysia Kelantan, Pekalan Chapel. I will present about Chapter 1, Introduction. Although it has risen in recent years, the ratio of female entrepreneurs is still significantly lower than that of male entrepreneurs. The purpose of this proposal research is to specify a concept in which the relationship between entrepreneurial potential, gender, and entrepreneurial intention is investigated by analyzing how independent variables such as theory of planned behavior based on gender and how entrepreneurial intention that affect entrepreneurship education of graduates of University Malaysia Kelantan Pekalan Chapel students. Our problem statement is research of gender and how entrepreneurial intention that affects entrepreneurship education of University Malaysia Kelantan Pekalan Chapel students is still scant. Many studies though have been conducted, there appear to be isolation. Research objective of this proposal is first, to determine levels of entrepreneurship education among undergraduates studying at University Malaysia Kelantan Pekalan Chapel. Second, to determine levels of tree entrepreneurship intention to examine the moderating effects of gender in the relationship among entrepreneurship education and tree entrepreneurship intention. Question: what are levels of entrepreneurship education among undergraduates studying at University Malaysia Kelantan Pekalan Chapel? Second, what are levels of tree entrepreneurship intention University Malaysia Kelantan Pekalan Chapel? Third, does gender moderate the relationship among entrepreneurship education and tree entrepreneurship intention among undergraduates studying at University Malaysia Kelantan Pekalan Chapel? Research hypothesis: gender moderates the relationship among entrepreneurship education and entrepreneurship intention among undergraduates studying at University Malaysia Kelantan Pekalan Chapel. Significance of the study: the survey brings the nature ideas among the undergraduates of University Malaysia Kelantan Pekalan Chapel students that are pursuing entrepreneurship education where potential and intention will be emerged and exist in Malaysia. This, of course, can contribute to various understanding concepts and the real world practice that currently taking place or happening in most courses that are involved in the survey. Thus, it might be also be in the business of knowledge production, which tell many of us that is a recent development that raised a host of questions due to the exact nature of how knowledge is managed and held in many organizations.
Conceptual framework. A lot more effort can be put into learning the theory of planned behavior and entrepreneurial education and gender among of undergraduates of University Malaysia Kelantan Pekalan Chapel. In translating the above relationship into the hypothesis of this study, the conceptual framework model is developed as illustrated in figures below. The conceptual framework has three key major components, which is theory of planned behavior and entrepreneurial education and gender. The theory of planned behavior as the independent variable of the studies. Gender is the moderating variable, and entrepreneurial education is the dependence variable. The figures capture the conceptual frameworks on entrepreneurial real educations and theory of planned behaviors among gender among of undergraduates of University Malaysia Kelantan Pekalan Chapel. The frameworks indicates the relationship between the entrepreneurial educations and plan behavior. In illustrating the extent to which entrepreneurial education and the theory of plan behavior has a good linkage between them. The relationship is indicated by the relationship between the entrepreneurial education and the theory plan behavior. Gender act as moderator in the relationship between entrepreneurial education and the theory of plan behavior was illustrated in figure 3. Methodology. For these studies, all we want to talk about is the research design. Since the main aim and purpose of the study is to identify levels and the nature of certain relationship, particularly between theory of plan behavior and entrepreneurial education, the researchers choose the descriptive correlational as the appropriate design of the study. Next, sampling frame. Undergraduates of University Malaysia Kelantan's Pencabar students at University Malaysia Kelantan's represent the sampling frame for the present study. Next, for the population for the studies will involve 6,500 of undergraduates of University Malaysia Kelantan's Pencabar students. There are presently undergraduates of University Malaysia Kelantan Pencabar students exist in the current content. The sample are representative of undergraduates of University Malaysia Kelantan Pencabar students selected at random from the list. Undergraduates of University Malaysia Kelantan Pencabar, they have 3 faculties, which is Faculty of Entrepreneurship and Business, which is we call FKP. Second is Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, which is we call FPV, and last is Faculty of Hospitality, Tourism and Wellness, what we call is FHPK. A sample size of 6,500 students from the target population of obtained for the determination of the sample size. In determining the sample size for finite populations, came up with a table using the sample size population for finite populations. 364 sample size being chosen among of 6,500 populations of undergraduates of University Malaysia Kelantan Pencabar students. Sampling techniques. In this project, the research project that used for the sampling techniques, which is sample random sampling for among undergraduates studying at University Malaysia Kelantan Pencabar. Next, unit analysis. In this project, the research project that used for a unit of analysis, which is individuals. Instruments. The questionnaire serve as the most appropriate method of data collection for certain questions. In addition to the scopes, wide areas of the population covers and the subsequent reductions of distribution bias compared to the other methods. The questionnaire appears to be most common method used by many researchers. It is the best research tools where issue for investigation has been clearly defined and requires responses of unambiguous. All the statements in the questionnaire were writing in the English and Malay language. Although the three instruments selected for this study have shown to have substantive constructs validity and reliability, but they have not been tested in emulation organizational context. Therefore, to secure in the internal variability of the studies, the reliability of all the instruments were tested during the plot test. Next, variability and reliability of instruments. The extent to which measure is without bias, error-free is an indication of the reliability of the measure, and therefore consistent measurement across time and across various items in instruments in ensure the stability and consistency with which the instruments measure the concept and helps to assess the goodness of the measure indicates the reliability of the measure. Reliability coefficient assesses the consistency of the entire scales, with Croban's alpha being the most widely used measure. On the other hand, the variability is the extent to which an instrument measure what it is supposed to measure. In checking the variability of the questionnaire, the undergraduate students who is very thorough was consulted. Plan for data collections. An online survey will be sent to undergraduates of University Malaysia Kelantan Pelancongan 2 weeks before receiving the questionnaire. The letter will be from the director to those selected for participation in the study. The online survey, together with the cover letter, will inform the participants of their selections, reinforcing the voluntary nature of the studies and asking for their cooperation. We plan for data analysis. The data collected will be computed and analyzed using the statistical package for the social science (SPSS). Analysis of the data will be performed in 2 stages. The initial stage of the analysis involves conducting an exploratory data analysis to examine the data before any specific statistical processes are used to analyze. The analysis is for the plan for data analysis, which is first for the research objective, which is first is about to determine the level of entrepreneurship education among undergraduates studying at University Malaysia Kelantan Pelancongan. For the variable, independent variables evaluate in terms of its predictive power and to seek how much variance in independent variable they can explain. Next, for the measurement, statements relate to the theory of planned behaviors and entrepreneurial education pursued by gender among of undergraduates of University Malaysia Kelantan Pelancongan. For the scale interval, for the statistic we use descriptive statistic, which is mean, median, standards, deviations, minimums, maximum, sweetness, and kurtosis. For the second research objective for the plan for data analysis is determine to determine level of three entrepreneurship intention to examine the moderating effects of gender in relationship among entrepreneurship educations and three entrepreneurship intentions. For the variable is association independence variables evaluate in terms of its predictive power. For measurements is measure the associations of theory of planned behavior and entrepreneurial educations. For the scales is interval. For the statistics is multiple linear regressions. For me, thank you.